Hello and welcome. I'm Sherri Coffelt, and I'm so excited to have you here today and join me for a conversation with Janice Porter. I've had the chance to get to know Janice a little bit. We met on LinkedIn. She'll talk more about LinkedIn, and I know you're going to enjoy what she has to say. So let me tell you a little bit about Janice. She is a master networker and a huge connector of people. She trains business professionals on how to leverage the power of LinkedIn to build relationships and generate qualified leads. And I can raise my hand and say LinkedIn works. She also shows them how to nurture those relationships using an online business tool that sends real cards and gifts in the mail. When was the last time you got that in the mail? I actually got one, so I know that they work. Janice has a weekly podcast called Relationships Rule. On that podcast, she interviews like-minded professionals, those who see the value in relationship marketing. She values her relationships, and she's always looking for ways to be of service to others. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. And I want to talk today. I know your kind of specialty area focuses around relationship marketing and building relationships in order to build our businesses. So let's talk about what is relationship marketing in your mind?
So relationship marketing, I think most people, when they hear that term, they focus on marketing. That's what they hear. And people in my world, we focus more on relationship. And so 80%, that old, the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, it's like, focus on building people up, celebrating people, send out kindness, show that you care 80% of the time. And maybe 20% of the time, you're going to ask for a referral, or you're going to, see about doing business with them. But you've got to show that you care before people will care at all. About you. So that's how I define relationship marketing.
Oh, I love that. And I so agree with you. It's all about relationship in business. Mm-hmm. And I think it's becoming even more important with the world going more virtual. Does it feel to you like it's actually more important today to build relationship than Absolutely. It even was in the past?
Absolutely. Because also people are struggling more with everything, right? The world has just changed so much. So when you can do, the niceties, when you can send somebody an unexpected card, when you can pick up the phone and say, hey, I was thinking about you, that means so much today, I think. And it slows things down in the rush that that we're in on a daily basis as well, for sure.
Yeah, it does. And people want to know you as people first before they do business with you. We've all heard the know, like, and trust factor. And I think the reality is, they just want to be comfortable. And one of the ways to do that I've experienced is to just be curious about them and ask them questions about, what's important to them. So I love that. So I get relationship marketing. And now I know you in particular, as I do, focus on LinkedIn as one of the biggest social media platforms where you build relationship. Mm-hmm. And I know you even do some training around it. Tell me more about what you see is that power of using LinkedIn to create new relationships that turn into new business.
Well, it's funny because if I can just use an example that happened to me today, actually, I was talking to a gentleman who he's in the mortgage industry, and I had done training for their people yesterday, and he had some questions for me, and I looked at his profile, and we had a conversation around how we could improve his profile, because it all starts there, because you want to give off that, you want to attract the people that you want to attract, the kind of people you want to work with, and basically repel the others, because that's how you sift and sort and find the people that find you, that want you. But he was telling me that he was spending money to have somebody create I guess memes. They were pictures that he added posts to on LinkedIn, and he was doing this on a regular basis. And we looked at his posts, and not one of them had any engagement. And I'm like, this is, I just feel as though you're taking the wrong approach. I didn't say it that way to him, but I always say the money's in the mailbox. You've got to talk to people. Putting all those posts up there is fine to be visible, and there's a place for it. But if you're not talking to people, then you're not doing the right thing. And so I feel that LinkedIn is a underutilized platform, or, seabed of people that are there to talk to. And you just have to know how to sift and sort, and how to do an advanced search, how to find the right people that you want to talk to, and then start talking to people.
Right.
What
Yeah.
happens.
And the thing with LinkedIn that I love is, excuse me, Facebook has a place, and I was on Facebook regularly and faithfully for a long time. But it got, so there's a lot of fluff. Whereas with LinkedIn, my experience is that people are there to network. They're there because of their business first. So they do want to hear your how you think about things. They want to hear your experiences and hear about your expertise, but they also do want to get to know you a little bit too. And I think it's that finding that balance between the two that's so important. Like you said, memes might work on Facebook, but probably not necessarily going to work for LinkedIn.
Well, you said something earlier about being curious, and that's the sort of backbone of everything that I talk about. And so if somebody reaches out to you, like I teach people how to do the outreach as well. But if somebody reaches out to you, or even if you reach out and they say they accept your connection request, and now you want to look at their profile, now you want to be curious and find something that will be a common thread that you can start a conversation about. It's just like when you go to a networking event, you just have to find some way to connect.
Right. And it's not asking for a sale the minute after they accept your connection. That's what we all get those messages where, you accept a connection request, you think it's somebody that you might want to collaborate with or whatever. Yeah. And then 2 minutes later, you've got this, here's my product, do you want to buy it message. And it's
and you need my product, but they don't know that. They haven't even paid any attention.
Exactly. And we have enough of that. We have enough of those spammy sales messages in the world. We don't need more of them. Absolutely.
That's right.
So when you work with your clients around LinkedIn, what do you find is most important for them to convey on their LinkedIn profile in order to attract those right people?
I think that's a great question. And I think that most importantly, they need to show the pain points of their clients that they solve. Mm-hmm. And that's usually around in their about section, because I have a formula that I use for the about section that I work with my clients. But most importantly, it's like, okay, I'm hearing you. I know you have this problem. And so this is how I can help you. And when they read that about section and they see, oh my God, this person gets me, that's that they've done it right. It starts up higher. It starts with the headline and the backdrop, as you know, but that's where the meat of things is in the about section.
Yeah. So the about section is not about you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's client facing for entrepreneurs. It's client facing. Yeah.
Very cool. So, and LinkedIn is one of the ways that we network. And networking, it's been around forever and a day, long before the internet even existed. And we can do it live. We can do it on LinkedIn. I mean, I see LinkedIn as a form of networking. Yeah. But what I find is that so many people will, for instance, accept a connection request, and then they'll never engage. They'll never answer another message, no matter what I'm sending them. Right. Or they say that they're going to get on a call and then they don't follow through. They don't follow up. And then on the flip side, kind of the same thing, that there's so many people that say they're using LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it might be. But the reality is they're not following up with the people that they're coming into contact with. Tell me about some of your thoughts on the power of follow-up.
Oh my goodness. It's the age old, right? So I think, although it's done a little bit differently in face-to-face situations than online, and although even going to like a Chamber of Commerce meeting or a BNI chapter meeting is different than going to a trade show and networking there, they all have their own idiosyncrasies. The main thing is the main thing. Follow up, and follow up in a timely manner. So what does that look like? I remember when I used to go to chamber events, and I'd come away with a bunch of business cards. And I would sit and like, usually it would be in the early evening. So I would come home and I would email every single one of those people that I had their card just to say it was nice to meet them. I'll be in touch. We talked about going for coffee next week or whatever, and we'll set something up so that they know that I've paid attention and I do what I say I'm going to do. And within 24 hours, I have connected with them. And just to do that, you're going to stand out from the crowd.
Yes.
Right? Because nobody does it. And then on LinkedIn or on any really social media platform, it's similar. It's like, just if you say you're going to do something, do it, and do it in a timely manner, because people forget and they move on to the next thing. Right. Yeah. So one thing I do on LinkedIn is, have conversation over messaging. My goal is to take it off messaging to a Zoom call or God forbid, an in-person meeting nowadays. But I also always get their mailing address because I send them a card. Now, sometimes we'll get there quickly. Sometimes it takes a longer time. But again, it's another touch point along with the other things that I'm doing. So
that's something that I think makes you unique. I got one of those cards, and it just is. It's another point because we don't get a lot of mail these days. So I think it is something that makes you unique in using that as part of your follow-up process. And I think that it's important in your follow-up that you are following up in more than one way, because some people are on LinkedIn every day, some people are not, some people are on Facebook, or some people are, only going to read email or whatever it might be. So I think it's important.
I'm always afraid that if I send them an email, and I would do it, but it couldn't land in their junk, right? But if I do the message initially on LinkedIn, it's usually better. They'll find it. However, sometimes I get a prompting sometimes when I'm looking at someone's profile, and they may be, for whatever reason, usually they're salespeople, and I don't like doing this, but they put their phone number in their headline. So I call them, because they're probably going to answer their phone. Why else would they have it in there? And I've done that a few times. And I did that actually a couple of weeks ago with someone I was following up with. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to call him. And he answered the phone, but he was in Quebec City. He wasn't even at home in Vancouver. So it works. He answered his phone. So
that's great. That's great. There's that old saying, it used to be you had to touch somebody 7 times to turn them into a customer. I've heard 14 and I've heard 21 now, but so I know it's going up.
It's and yet there are exceptions to every rule. If you show, it can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So with LinkedIn and with most social media, at least conversations, one of the things that I know I've struggled with and my clients have struggled with is keeping the conversation going in a way that doesn't feel salesy. Any suggestions you have around that?
Well, that's also a good question. I think you always want to start with things that are not business-like, and that is, if you go look at their profile and you really look at it, and I know this takes time, but you look down deeper, beyond the top, the above the fold, you'll find something like they're a soccer coach, or they love hiking, or something possibly that a degree or a certificate they got, or they love personal development. Start talking about stuff like that. Use icebreaker type conversations. I've got one that's my favorite that I use, and it always gets an answer. And it's something, tell me something that I won't find on your LinkedIn profile about you.
I love that one.
Tell them something about me, and and it goes on from there. And then it doesn't have to take that long actually to get to a business type conversation, as long as you're not trying to sell them. It's right away. It might be, and you know what? It's a business platform. So if I somewhere in the second or third message, I'm saying to them, I notice you're not on LinkedIn that often. I'm glad I caught you here. Is there a reason you don't use it? So try to get them into talking about LinkedIn, but in a way that maybe I can help them and give them something of value about it. Right. Without
it's all about adding value, whether it's just showing them that you're a real person and that you are curious about them or business value. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, I said to
Excuse me.
a woman the other day, I was saying something and I helped her with something. And I said, is there anything else I can help you with before I go? And she said, well, you've already been an amazing help. And she didn't ask for it. It was just,
Right.
can I give you that little bit of a hint that will make that look different?
Yeah.
And and then they remember you as someone that, that is showing they care. And when the time is right, they'll remember you as long as you keep staying in touch.
Sorry for that little pause. I had to cough.
Oh, good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have shared some amazing tips. I really appreciate your approach to relationship marketing and using LinkedIn as one of those ways to do it, and the very actionable tips that you've given us in terms of how we can turn those conversations on LinkedIn into collaboration partnerships, referral partnerships, as well as get new clients out of it. So thank you so much for that. I know that you have a free gift that you want to offer to our audiences. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So it's on my website at janiceporter.com, but I do have a direct link for it for your listeners. It's called 7 Steps to Build Solid. I'm looking over here because I can never remember the exact title. 7 Steps to Build Solid Business Relationships That Last and Grow Your Business. And it's an ebook, and in each section of the 7 sections, there are 2 actionable items, one to do with LinkedIn, one to do with other follow-up and networking type things that will help you, maybe inspire you to your audience to build relationships and grow their business. And so they can get that on my website.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds great. So I will put that link below the video so you can click on that link and go to it. Are there other ways that you would like people to connect with you? Maybe LinkedIn?
Absolutely. I always say reach out on LinkedIn, but by all means do, and say where you heard about me on Sherri's
Awesome.
podcast. And but yeah, and let's connect. Absolutely.
Perfect.
I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. It's just Janice Porter. So
perfect. And as I said, I will put those links below the video, so make sure you go out and get them. Now, Janice, before I let you go, I do have one last question. And that is, if you had known everything that you know today when you started your business, what would you tell your new entrepreneur self?
Yes, well, I learned a lot when I started my business. I came from teaching, and so I knew I was a teacher, then I was a corporate trainer. And when I was a corporate trainer, they sent me out to the jobs. So I didn't have to go find my own business.
Right.
It came to me. So I would say, you said I can only say one thing. So
you can say a couple.
Well, I think it's important to surround yourself with strong business professionals who can guide you. And when I say that, I mean, there's like 5 maybe basic areas, from operations to, marketing, sales, and whatever else I can't remember at the moment. But basically, you need to have professionals support you, help you, guide you, coach you, however you want to put it. Because when you come from nothing, it's hard to do all those things. So I would say, yeah, go take a course or do something, get a coach to, yeah.
Absolutely. I so agree with that. I would not be, I don't even know where I would be without all of the mentors and coaches and accountability partners that I've had over the years. And the thing is that we don't start our businesses to do this stuff. Unless you're a bookkeeper, you probably didn't get in business to do, bookkeeping or accounting or create a landing page or whatever it might be. So I totally agree and support that in terms of I would say ditto in terms of my experience. Well, Janice, it has been a pleasure to talk to you today. Be sure and check out the show notes again to get in touch with Janice and to get her free gift. Go and try out LinkedIn. If you're not working on LinkedIn right now, I can definitely second the endorsement, if you will, of LinkedIn as an amazing networking profile these days. And go out and be you. Thanks again, Janice.
My pleasure. It was so much fun. I love being on other people's podcasts. So thank you. Thank you so much.